It started the same way most stupid neighbor wars do, with something so small you almost laugh about it. Except you can't laugh when someone keeps stealing your mail. The first time I thought maybe the wind caught it. The second time I saw footprints, tiny floral prints leading straight from my mailbox to Karen Hernandez's front porch. The same pastel slippers she wore every morning when she strutted around the cul-de-sac like she owned it. 3 days later, she screamed bloody murder when a rubber snake lunged at her from inside my mailbox, and that's when the whole thing exploded. I live in a quiet, gated neighborhood, the kind where lawns look cloned and HOA rules are treated like gospel. I moved here thinking it'd be peaceful, a place where I could work in my garage, mind my business, and spend my mornings on the porch swing I built myself. I was wrong. Because Karen wasn't just another neighbor, she was the self-appointed sheriff of suburbia. She carried her laminated HOA bylaws everywhere like a cop's badge. If your trash can was out 5 minutes late, she'd write it down. If your grass grew an inch too tall, she'd take photos. I'd heard stories about her before, but I didn't take them seriously until my mail started disappearing. At first I brushed it off. Maybe a mistake, maybe a lost delivery. But when my new woodworking chisel from Vermont vanished after I'd seen her waddling across my yard that same morning, I knew it wasn't random. Still, I didn't confront her. People like Karen feed on reaction. They thrive on control. So I waited. I installed a tiny camera inside a fake birdhouse across the street. Sure enough, the footage showed her opening my mailbox, tucking the package under her arm like it was a casserole dish, and walking away with that smug little smile. That was the moment I knew what I was dealing with, a woman who believed authority meant ownership. I tried to understand her before striking back. I waved when she passed, complimented her fake lavender plants, even offered her a jar of my homemade honey. She sniffed it, frowned, and said, "We don't usually eat unregulated produce." That one line said it all. Karen's world revolved around rules, control, and hierarchy, and I was the guy who didn't fit the mold. No HOA meetings, no conformity, no fake smiles. That made me dangerous to her little empire. So I decided to fight fire with creativity. I borrowed a rubber snake from my brother. He works in theater props. This thing looked real enough to make my dog whimper. I coiled it neatly inside my mailbox, mouth open, scales gleaming, ready to strike. Then I left a fake envelope poking out labeled HOA Response. Perfect bait. The next morning at 7:15, like clockwork, she tottered out with her coffee mug, robe tied tight. She glanced both ways, opened my mailbox, and screamed so loud I nearly dropped my camera. The mug flew. Her robe flared open and she tripped backward into her hydrangeas. I caught the whole thing on video. It was beautiful. That afternoon, she stormed onto my porch wearing a blazer still dripping with indignation. "Do you realize how dangerous that was?" she snapped. "You could have caused me serious harm." I stared her down and said, "Only if you were committing a federal crime." She froze, mouth opening and closing like a fish. "I was checking for HOA violations," she said. "Mailboxes are regulated property." I smiled. "Pretty sure the USPS disagrees. Here, keep this before someone else does." I handed her a flash drive with the footage. She took it red-faced and marched off. For 2 days, silence. Then I woke to find my mailbox smashed, the snake gone. The HOA newsletter that week mentioned wildlife disturbances. Cute. I laughed, but deep down I knew this wasn't over. Karen couldn't stand losing. She saw embarrassment as a challenge. So I escalated quietly. I started sending fake confidential letters to myself labeled HOA Legal Review. I'd check the mailbox in plain sight, nod seriously, whisper into my phone. Within a week, I saw her spying from behind her curtains. Then came the fake HOA Enforcement Committee notice taped to my door accusing me of hazardous traps within shared property boundaries. That committee didn't exist. She'd made it up. Karen had gone from petty to pathological. I wrote back a calm, surgical letter. "Thank you for your concern regarding mailbox wildlife. I appreciate the reminder that tampering with mailboxes is a federal offense." Then I pinned a copy on the HOA board. That got her attention. A few mornings later, a white SUV rolled up with an HOA logo made of printer paper taped to the door. Out stepped a man with a clipboard mark Community Standards Oversight. Karen followed behind him, chest puffed, ready to prosecute. I asked for his credentials. He handed me a laminated library card with HOA scribbled in Sharpie. I nearly choked laughing. Karen shouted, "This is official business," I said. "Then you won't mind if I call the police." Mark bolted. The whole cul-de-sac saw it. That should have been the end, but humiliation only made her more creative. That night she smeared honey inside my mailbox. My own honey. I laughed so hard I nearly cried. So I wired a Bluetooth speaker to hiss like a rattlesnake when the lid opened. The next morning she approached, cautiously opened the box, and the hiss exploded. She screamed, dropped her coffee again, and ran. I stepped outside, calm as ever. "Karen, stop touching my mailbox." "You can't prove anything," she yelled. "Actually, I can," I said, pointing at the birdhouse camera. She went pale. "You can't record me, it's illegal. Not when you're committing a crime on my property." Her face twisted with rage. "You'll regret this," she spat. I smiled. "Maybe. But you'll regret it first." That's when things got darker. My camera footage started disappearing. Someone had wiped the SD card clean. Then I found a letter in my mailbox with no return address. "Enjoy your privacy while you can." No signature, but I knew that font, that phrasing. Karen was plotting. And I'll admit it got to me. I couldn't sleep. Every shadow outside looked like her silhouette. For the first time, I wondered if I'd gone too far. Maybe I was feeding the same obsession she had. Maybe this stupid war was making me into her reflection. But then she crossed another line. A baseball bat broke my mailbox in half. Pink nail polish on the handle. Hers. That snapped me out of doubt. I rebuilt it this time with reinforced metal and motion-triggered sprinklers. At 7:15, she crept out in yoga pants thinking she was stealthy. The sprinklers erupted, drenching her from head to toe. I waved through the window. She screamed curses that would have made a sailor blush. That clip went viral on the neighborhood group chat within hours. Finally, everyone saw the real Karen. I thought that was victory, but she wasn't done. A few nights later, I caught someone fiddling with my mailbox again. Too tall for Karen. When the light hit, I saw his face, her husband Tom. She'd sent him. The sprinklers went off, he screamed, and the camera caught everything. The next morning, I printed his photo and left it in their mailbox. No note. Just the image. By noon, Tom came knocking, pale and shaking. "She made me do it," he whispered. "She said you had cameras pointed at our windows." I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. "Tom, I said you need to stop covering for her." He sighed. "You don't know her when she's angry." Actually, I said I think I do. Days passed. The cul-de-sac went quiet again. Too quiet. Then, a local news van showed up in my driveway. A reporter hopped out, microphone ready. "Sir, are you the homeowner involved in the HOA harassment dispute?" I blinked. "What?" Turns out, Karen had gone to the media painting herself as the victim. The broadcast showed her crying, claiming I'd terrorized her with mechanical wildlife. My name wasn't mentioned, but everyone knew. I was furious, but then I realized I had every second of her coaching the reporters caught on my cameras. So I edited the footage, posted it anonymously, and let the internet do its thing. Within hours, the narrative flipped. "Classic HOA," Karen, someone commented. The station deleted the story. Her reputation gone. That should have been the finale. But Karen wasn't the only villain in this story. Before she moved out, she left a small box on my porch. Inside was a flash drive labeled, "For when they come after you next." I almost threw it away, but curiosity won. It contained HOA financial spreadsheets, and buried in them, embezzlement. Thousands siphoned by Robert, our calm, golf-loving president. I confronted him. His smile vanished. "You don't want to do that," he said quietly. "It'll make things ugly." I told him it was already ugly. The next HOA meeting, I laid out the evidence in front of everyone. He tried to deny it until I mentioned I'd sent a copy to the county. He walked out red-faced and never came back. They called it a new era of transparency. They elected me HOA president. I didn't want it, but maybe I thought I could fix what broke us. I shredded half the old bylaws, replaced them with a one-page rule: residents are adults. Use common sense. Respect privacy. For the first time, people actually clapped at an HOA meeting. I thought maybe, just maybe, peace was possible. Then a new family moved into Karen's old house. Nice couple-friendly smiles, cookies on arrival, and a sticker on their moving truck that read, "Managed by Karen Properties, LLC." I froze. A week later, a message appeared in our community chat: order and discipline keep neighborhoods strong. The phrasing was too familiar, too neat. And that's when I understood Karen never really left. She just changed her title. Maybe she was watching from somewhere else, maybe she had new puppets now. Either way, I'd seen enough. That night, I walked to my mailbox, opened the lid, and found one last note. 2 words written in her perfect handwriting. "Told you." I laughed, quiet, tired, but real, because she was right. In neighborhoods like ours, there's always another Karen. Sometimes across the street, sometimes in the mirror. Lesson. In every HOA, power doesn't corrupt people, it just finds the ones already craving control.